Before we start today, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us, please, so you could follow up on more content for Midwest Coaster fans. And with that being said, welcome to a new video. And on this video, we're going to talk about how amusement parks might change in terms of capacity because of the response to this COVID-19 pandemic. And I know many of you have already read stuff online regarding this, and many of you have already been to the grocery stores and have practiced social distancing. So you guys all know what we've been dealing with since mid-March in regards to the coronavirus pandemic. Now, we don't know much on what's going on with the parks thus far, but what we do know is that Disney and Universal have been looking to the idea of making the virtual queue more available to more rides and attractions. If you go over to Disney World, they already use it on Rise of the Resistance. If you go over to Universal Studios, this is in Orlando, they use it on Jimmy Fallon, and also they use it on the Fast and the Furious ride. Now, Rix Flix, which is a YouTube channel, which I'll post his description in the link on the description below, he had something where somebody gave him some information regarding that they saw the virtual queue pop up for a moment, and it wasn't just for those two rides, and then it disappeared right away. So we know that they possibly are testing that at those parks. Now let's flash over to the Midwest, or seasonal parks, or just in general parks owned by like Cedar Fair, Six Flags, and smaller other parks or chains. Will those chains explore the idea of a virtual queue? Well, that question remains. Now, some parks like Cedar Fair parks and Six Flags parks already have mobile apps. So the possibility of rolling out an update to those apps that would include checking into rides or attractions could possibly happen. Let's say at like the bigger Cedar Fair parks, or even the smaller ones. It depends. I'm not 100% familiar what parks don't have the mobile apps, but let's say the parks that do have the mobile applications, they change it where you're able to check in virtually and you show up at a time, or they have a capacity and they only let a certain amount of people check in with a certain amount of time because they know the capacity of the roller coaster per hour. Now, Six Flags also has that capability. Six Flags allows you to check into rides. And when you check into rides, you're able to get points towards things. So, like you check into certain roller coasters, you get certain points. They have that option available already. It's like a member reward program. Well, let's say they switch it because they were already looking into, like, I know Six Flags Great America was looking into allowing you to do mobile ordering. So if they have that capability on a lot of these mobile apps, they could also add the capability of doing a certain type of virtual queue or check-in program. I think we see a lot of parks try to implement it at least this summer. And obviously things might change back to normal when this whole thing kind of calms down a little bit. The second option we look at now, many of you have been at like department stores and grocery stores, and many of you have probably seen the stickers set up on the floors that show social distancing distance. You like stand at a certain point and you space yourself 6 feet apart. I think there's a possibility. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen. Obviously, these are just predictions, but I was thinking very wholeheartedly about how parks could do it in a way without utilizing virtual queue. And what they could do is, I'm not sure what they're going to do with the train capacity per train on the roller coasters, but on like flat rides and things like that, they could practice social distancing where you have to utilize every other car or row depending on what type of ride it is. But on the roller coasters, the ride queues, they could have people spaced 6 feet apart and only allow a certain amount of people in a line at a certain time. I could actually see this happening because I was thinking in my head, like in terms of like certain rides at certain parks, the ride queues are long enough where you could social distance people apart, where you'll have stickers or pieces of tape set up every 6 feet. And that would continue all the way back to the end of the queue. And you would just have to space people apart. And basically, as the staff looks at the numbers, they would know how many people are exiting. Or, I mean, the easiest way to do is the people standing at the entrance could see when it's safe to allow more people into the attraction or, roller coaster. This might limit capacity on the ride or the line, but it might be a cheaper option than offering the virtual queue, because I'm not sure on how much money that's going to cost. But like, both of these options could be something that parks could look into. I think instead of sit-down options, I think a lot of these restaurants inside of these parks go to a mobile ordering type of deal, or they don't allow sit-down options, or the ones that allow sit-down options are having to space apart tables for the time being until this thing kind of calms down a little bit. So there's a lot of changes that are going to be implemented. Now, for the virtual queue thing, it works on Rise of the Resistance, so you'll basically go into the coaster in groups, and you'll show like the coaster attendant what time you're checking in or what group number you are. It depends on what they decide to do on that, because you could look at the fast pass system for one way to do the check-in, and you could also look at the virtual queue thing that is taking place at Rise of the Resistance, and also it's taking place at Universal. And you'll see these photos above, kind of examples on how these different systems work on their mobile application. One thing's for certain, the parks are going to have to decide what system works best for them, whether it be the virtual queue, whether it be a social distancing type sticker system in the queue area. We know one thing for sure, they're probably going to institute the mobile ordering system for all their restaurants, and obviously they're going to have to maintain social distancing with the table set up. But let me know what you think by commenting in the comments below. And with that being said, this is Chris signing off from Midwest Coaster Fans. Until next time, thanks again for watching.